I mean, unless you come to repentance and are ashamed of your past sins, I mean, there is no salvation. God resists the proud. He gives his favor to the humble. As it is written, Christ shall not, God shall not reject a broken and contrite heart. As Paul says, the worldly sorrow works death, but godly sorrow works repentance. Because unless we're ashamed of our past sins, there's no salvation. God doesn't hear you. God hears someone who's come to repentance. This is what Jesus is describing of the sinner who sat there and beat his breast and said, "Forgive me, a sinner." But people want to boast about being a sinner. They miss the whole idea of what Jesus is talking about. If you want to walk away justified, you've got to come to repentance. You can't just, I'll end up doing this again. That's the heretic that Paul describes in chapter 3 of Titus, verses 10 and 11. He says a heretic who is just someone, it just means someone who's self-willed, who continues to sin, being condemned to themselves. They're not able to forgive themselves, or they're just not willing to, they still take pleasure in the unrighteousness. And Paul describes that in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, who had pleasure in the unrighteousness and received not the love of the truth that is in Jesus, who makes us free from sin. He came and redeemed us out from under sin. We need to understand, without repentance, there is no salvation. And this is what Paul was getting at also in Philippians 3 when he's talking about, I tell you now, even weeping, they're the enemies of the cross of Christ, whose glory is in their shame, whose God is their belly, who mind earthly things. Talking about that same Greek word translated mind is translated affections in Colossians 3:2. So if you be risen with Christ, set your affections on the things above, not on the things below. For you are dead and your life is hid with Christ in God. We need to understand the truth. Romans 8:5, those that are after the flesh mind the things